Hey everyone, today's video is going to be about empathy, the gift that keeps on giving, versus forgiveness. So really, who doesn't struggle with forgiveness? It's such a deep thing, and I always get really curious when people tell me that they've forgiven somebody of some mega catastrophic event in their past, and I'm really impressed by it, because true forgiveness is something I've struggled with. So often we can think we've forgiven, but there's so many layers to true forgiveness. And when we look at forgiveness and what it truly is, it is about empathy. Empathy to self, which we often forget to extend it towards ourselves, and empathy towards others, the person that we're looking to forgive. And that can be so challenging, almost impossible, yet so crucial. And really what the empathy does when it comes to trying to get on the page of forgiveness is we try to look at what that person's situation was, what's happened in their past that led them to certain things that may have really hurt us. And when we struggle with that, we look at another layer of forgiveness, which is remembering people are not their behaviours. They're a product of their behaviours, but they are not innately their behaviours. Their behaviours have come about for some reason. And ultimately, when we can't forgive, we're poisoning ourselves, because true forgiveness isn't about making that other person feel better. They might not deserve it, they might. But forgiveness is going, I now detach from the story that was, so that whatever has gone on no longer has the same impact on me that it did. It might always be wrong. It might always be something that's deeply uncomfortable and wounding. However, it now does not impact my life in the same way, the same intensity, the same capacity in the here and now that it once did. I struggle with this. I'm not here to preach. I struggle with this. And there is a person in my life that I truly struggle to forgive. And it's that very person that's helping me. They're helping me to look in myself. What is it that I'm struggling with? What is the wound that's touched? But even more so, it's that very person who said to me, if you cannot forgive me, you are poisoning yourself. And I've sat with that for a while. This is more of a recent thing, something from years ago, but a recent thing this person has brought to my awareness. And you know what? As much as it sucks, they're right. They're trying to help me to forgive them. Obviously, they want to feel better too, but there's a deeper spiritual wisdom and understanding in this. What is it I can't let go of? Is it a need to be right? Is it a need to have an apology? Is it a need to have my story heard? Probably all of the above and some, but it's not about anybody else or this person fixing that for me. I don't need to fix me. I need to get comfortable with how I'm feeling and start to shed the layers and release what it is that I'm holding on to. And is it a trigger of a wound from before then? Yes, going back into my childhood, very much. Still doesn't mean that we just stop feeling and that we can forgive like that. So when people say to me they've forgiven somebody completely, I'm fascinated. I'm like, wow, how'd you do that? But I'm also a little suspicious. Have you really? Because if that situation was to creep up again in a year's time, the thought of it, the memory, the trigger, the person, are you totally okay, or is there still some residual? For me, I think forgiveness will be a lifelong soul lesson I will be challenged with, because I'm here to embrace it and learn to come from my heart, which is empathizing. I may not be okay with the person, I may not be okay with what happened, but I can understand that there is a story behind a story, that they're coming from whatever they're coming from, whether it's trauma themselves or whether they're a little bit sleepy, maybe they've been in slumber, maybe they weren't totally consciously aware of what they were doing in the moment until it became apparent that that was causing problems. When we look outside the box and think from a higher perspective of the bigger picture, it does give us some scope to move closer towards true forgiveness. Never let anybody tell you that you just got to get over anger or forgiveness like that. Where are they coming from? This is a process. No feelings are negative. No feelings are worse than others. They just are, and they're telling you something. So honor your feelings. Look at how much forgiveness or lack of may be impacting you, and who's it really hurting? Because ultimately, lack of forgiveness hurts you. You carry it. What a weight. All right. Have a good weekend.